The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 7th day of March, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and I think Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. But I know, audience. I know. I mean, I feel like there's a stranger in our house this morning. Sherry, how you doing? How are you? It's been a while.
Oh, how about just welcome back, Sherry. Welcome back.
Yes.
I have been tuning in here and there and just heard all of the, things that you and Larry have been saying about Leanna
Me?
and I.
Me? No.
You.
Well, since he's not here to defend himself, Larry was saying all this stuff about you. I was like, don't talk
You
about my friend Sherry like that. He was saying, yeah, Sherry, I'm got this right. You ain't got this. I missed you. I mean, you guys might watch
audience.
us. Like, man, I miss Sherry and Leanna,
He
man.
is such a stirrer. He is a
Oh,
stirrer. I tell you, he
well,
stirs the pot.
don't tell
But
nobody
yeah.
this. Don't tell nobody this. But we missed you. We missed you. They missed you. I said they missed you a bit, and yeah, they missed you a bit, and we're happy to have you both back,
Oh,
and
thank you.
they're happy to have you back. So, yeah, Sherry, it's been a while. But did you you were in Bermuda, right?
I was in Bermuda. I was in Bermuda for a whole week, and I just got back last night, so I'm a little tired, but that's okay. I will push through because I love this audience, and
Uh,
I
uh,
missed you,
uh,
Jamal. I said it out loud, and it's being recorded.
uh,
So hold
Usually, if she
on to
says
this.
something nice like that in a WhatsApp message, she deletes it now. So you better hold on to that one.
Yeah, I kind of flew me in and flew out. Everyone's like, "You was here." I was like,
See,
"Had
I didn't
some
want to tell
business."
the audience. I didn't want to tell them that Sherry was in Bermuda because then they would have thought you were shady. I mean, but I didn't want them think like that about you. And then with Leanna out, they thought it was a conspiracy. Like y'all were trying to let the fellas be guys, and Larry and I being guys went over time and everything. And folks, they'll just
Yeah.
laugh at us in the chat group. They just wanted to say, oh, there they go. They think they could do it without women. And it's in Women's History Month, so they were trying a little thing, and it worked. It worked.
It worked, but you guys did a good job. You did
Yeah.
a really, really good job. I was
Oh
like,
man.
all right.
Yeah, it's good. I didn't get to spend time with my boy these days, so it was a pleasure
No.
doing it. But
And
oh
awesome conversations.
yeah. We got through some things, but had some great conversations, great guests last week. But good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one to begin the week as we discuss government guarantees, and we're gonna focus on what Bermuda needs to do to be able to compete globally. So those are going to be your topics of the day, and very important conversations. Once again, congratulations to Traveling Trotty. We gave away $500 to her last week. I wonder if she wants to learn a brother something. I'm a little short coming up.
Listen.
Sure, April 15th, right around the corner. I'm gonna pay taxes. I could use anything I
Quite
could
an
get.
extension.
You know somebody. Let me know. But
Yeah.
Traveling Trotty says she missed you. I mean, why you missed that?
Oh,
Look.
hi, Traveling Trotty.
Oh,
Hey,
Karen Simmons says, welcome back,
hi,
Shade Man. Mhm.
Karen.
I don't know what shade you're talking about. Who
Listen.
is Jamal?
And
Uh,
Jamal.
yeah,
See, Sam
yeah,
kept places there. She
yeah.
saw the shade too.
Yeah, I see how it is. I see how it is. But folks, let's get to the conversation. We've got a lot to talk about, but I actually had to look up what a government guarantee is globally, not on a Bermuda scale. So what I found, as far as a government guarantee, folks, is a government guarantee like is a loan that a third party, so in this case government, assumes the debt obligation for in the event that the borrower defaults, right? So I guess
Mm,
based on that, if whoever the government of Bermuda is loaning or guaranteeing, say, I guess the amount in question right now is $50 million. If they default on it, the government, they don't get that money back. They have to give it, whatever. I don't know. I just read what I read, and you know how you read stuff and you don't understand it completely. At the end of the day, bottom line is taxpayers are going to be on the hook for $50 million, right?
okay.
Now, the question to the audience, because it's your money, right? Should the government of Bermuda provide guarantees to private companies? Do you believe the government of Bermuda should provide guarantees to private companies? Now, I tweeted not long ago, probably back in January or early February,
Mhm.
that I don't believe taxpayers should be paying a dollar to billionaires. Now, not every private entity is run by billionaires, but that's just my thought process. I know that they do it in the US in terms of like getting stadiums built.
Right.
You have these big sports team owners, they go to cities and they get these cities to underwrite these stadiums for them, and it really comes out of the taxpayer, and there's no real guarantee that these teams are going to stay in these cities long term, right? They can pick up like the St. Louis Rams and move to Los Angeles, right, back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I just, when it comes to government guarantees, it is the taxpayer dollar. And I guess the question is, as taxpayers, do you believe that your money should be used for government guarantees? Now, let me just add a bit more.
Please.
In the case of a business that can provide hundreds of jobs, you may say, as the taxpayer, well, look, it's going to be beneficial for our economy long term, right? Is it going to benefit our economy long term? Is it going to benefit you long term? Those are things that you have to consider. Don't just look at it and say, no, that's my money. Why are they giving it to this billionaire and this and that? Think about it. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's on a case by case basis. I
Mm,
think it should be done on a case by case basis based on what is the business, what is the industry, right? Short term goals, long term goals. I don't think it's a
mhm.
one size fits all. Uh-oh.
Okay. No, because I'm really trying to think about it in regards to, you really have to have a financial outlook on and a business sense to see kind of where it goes, or be able to look like at it like, of course, getting a loan for a car or something on the simple form, right? And so if that's the case, do I want other people paying for it? And I don't think that taxpayers should be paying for it, like you said, for things that other monies can come from.
Mm,
The question would be, what is it in for the private companies and with the government? It's always kind of like a gray area when that comes, because
mhm,
who is scratching whose back, and what is, it's that transparency part, Jamal, that I just don't,
mhm,
that is never really put forth to the people.
mhm.
And then on the back end, then we find out some other, this person was guaranteed, it's a sub guarantee and another guarantee, and this led, you see what I'm saying? So I always feel like I need more information.
Well, I think the president of the Bermuda Industrial Union, Chris Verbert, said that recently. He basically said that he was going at the One Bermuda Alliance, saying they have no room to criticize the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party government for the $50 million guarantee for
Hmm.
the Fairmont Southampton property, because they went ahead and gave guarantees to St. Regis to the point where St. Regis doesn't have to hire Bermudians in protected classes. So there's, all types of different things and being said. I honestly can only go based on what's reported because some of the contracts aren't public for us to absolutely
Right.
know for sure what's going on. Kenton Trott says, good morning, TDH. I think it depends on if the project is in the national interest of the country. There should be some stipulations to ensure Bermuda benefits. Well, I would hope that any government guarantee that they're considering is they believe it's in the national interest of the country. But truth be told, that's a valid point because
Yeah.
sometimes it's in the interest of the political party. Sometimes it's in the interest of maybe the minister overseeing, but that should be obvious. It should be something that shouldn't need to be said, but crazier things
Right.
have happened. Question of the morning: should the government of Bermuda provide guarantees to private companies? I think what Kenton Trott's saying though aligns with what I'm thinking. It has to be on a case by case basis, right? Because
Hmm.
if you know that a company is likely to pretty much guarantee, per se, a number of jobs that helps the economy and bring in more investment behind it, then it might be a no-brainer. If it's a guarantee given to a company that's in a struggling industry,
And that's
and
another thing.
yeah, it's another thing. And then if it's a company that, the company does well economically, but they don't really provide that many jobs or create that many jobs, I mean, it's definitely a case by case basis.
It is. And then, as you spoke about before, it depends on what it's in the contracts and all of that kind of. So as we stated before in regards to St. Regis, they had a number of certain contracts that were, the government guaranteed. It's all of that,
Mhm,
and so I think that bothers me because
mhm,
I don't feel like it's forefront. We get all excited. Yes, these St. Regis is coming. We're going to get jobs. But behind the scenes, we're guaranteed 50 jobs, while immigration's indicating that they can bring in 150. And I'm
mhm,
just throwing out numbers, guys.
mhm, mhm,
So for me, it's just like, what is it? What's in it for us? And
mhm,
can that be said up front
mhm,
and not no backdoor
mhm.
situations? But
Well,
it's politics.
according to the Royal Gazette, because I did watch the press conference via, I believe, Trevor TNN last week, but BIU backs 50 million guarantee for Fairmont Southampton revamp. And according to the Gazette, the Chris Ferbert, the union's president, criticized the opposition One Bermuda Alliance for demanding answers from the ruling Progressive Labour Party of the deal. He said, it's very interesting. This is the former government asking about a $50 million guarantee for the largest hotel in Bermuda and not recognizing the benefits of a $15 million guarantee. If they had recognized it, they would have pointed it out in the press release, the huge benefits. They should have
Right.
taken into consideration that upon completion of the renovation, it will provide over 700 jobs, he went on to say. He then said this, when we had the airport development deal on the table, all you heard was Bob Richards and Craig Kennener talking about it is going to create jobs. He said the guarantee will decrease the number of Bermudians who are unemployed. It will reduce the number of people who are receiving supplemental benefit payments, and it will increase the airlift into Bermuda, which we definitely need. And this was in
Mm.
response of Craig Kenner, the Shadow Minister of Tourism and former Premier, earlier this week, last week, questioning why the government had not told the public about guarantees earlier.
That was
Um,
pre-pandemic too, so
well, there you go. I mean, and that's a valid point. At the end of the day, I, I don't like tit for tat politics. Honestly, it's not helpful for people. But
mm-mm.
Gary just made a good point. One happened then, one happened now. It's two different economies if we're being honest with ourselves. So
Yes.
I get Chris Ferbert's. I get him, but I think that it's not apples to apples in that respect.
And I just feel like people's missing the simplistic of it. I try to say very simplistic. We need Southampton Princess, bottom line. We do.
Don't
It
don't get
was
in trouble, Sherry. It's Fairmont, Southampton.
Fairmont, Southampton, my bad. I
Oh,
came
I
up
saw
on
somebody
South.
go on about that yesterday. I was like, seriously? We're talking about the
Uh,
same. Go ahead. Go ahead.
right, but okay. That pink hotel on top of the hill in Southampton, because that's how I feel about that. But nevertheless, we need it. It is viable to our economy. It's viable to, tourism. It's viable. And
Mhm,
so what are we gonna do in regards to that?
mhm,
Instead of all of this other stuff, how are we gonna make it happen?
mhm.
Yes, it provided 700 jobs. Yes, it's a family, considered a family style hotel. I need the spa back. I need the conferences up there. It's so many things that Southampton Princess did bring.
Well,
So how are we getting that?
to your point, I mean, let's think about it. You started something, economics. It was the largest hotel, I believe, 593 rooms, right?
Mhm.
Conferences. You could have 3 weddings, 5 different business conferences at that hotel. It also was a hotel that really was home to many of the local events, which
Yeah,
gave the opportunity to drive for locals to host events and so on, which drove the economy. But let's not forget distribution companies. The uh, wholesale companies had business, right? They
mhm,
were dropping off different supplies needed. So economically, Cher is absolutely right. Fairmont Southampton is needed. And if you were ever going to give a government guarantee, I would think this would be one to be considered. Samcat Place says no, we have enough nepotism on this island, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are some personal relationships in getting those contracts awarded. They may not they may not also be the right company for Bermuda. Well, that's something interesting there because company reputation, relationships are important when it comes to government guarantees. Should the government of Bermuda provide guarantees to private companies? Folks, what are your thoughts? Yes or no? It's your money. It's not, I mean, it's your money. Should the government be giving your money to people who probably have it? Now, there have been a number of people who say, well, if they don't have the money to do it, they shouldn't be in business, right? Um,
right.
I get that. I get that. Richard Augustus is asking, how about giving up equity? Give Bermuda investors shares in Southampton. Well, I'm not calling it that. Fairmont Southampton to order to raise capital ownership. Well, that's probably going to be the second part of our conversation this morning, Richard, as we talk about competing globally. So that we'll get to that in a bit. But that's a good point. You know, equity versus
Yeah.
guarantees. Is
Mhm.
there a huge difference? Do you think that's more beneficial for Bermuda long term? But yes or no, folks. Yes or no? Because do you understand guarantees? Because you're tuned in, but you're not responding. Should government of Bermuda provide guarantees with your taxpayer dollars? Should they be providing with? I mean, I think we all agree on one thing, Sherry. I think we
Right.
all agree on one thing. And what is that one thing we agree on? That one thing we agree on is that Bermuda needs the Fairmont Southampton Hotel, the largest hotel. They need that hotel open, right?
I'm sorry I'm laughing because I was just gonna call it the hotel.
I think we need it open. I
Yeah.
think we all agree that we need it open. Michael Daniel says, "Do Bermudians need more than job? All right, do Bermudians need more than jobs as incentives to engage in the hospitality industries?
They
Um,
need a place. Let's start there.
they need what you say?
They need a place.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? Do we need more than jobs as an incentive? We just need to start with a place first. The
mm,
place is the incentive to me.
mhm,
Because then as they, feel the dreams, they if you build it, they will come.
mm,
And let's build it, and then everyone will come. We can
mm,
get back to where we used to be, what that hotel provided, as you said, locally and globally.
mhm,
Families look forward to going there.
mhm,
Locals look forward to having their several events. You can have 3 and 4. Now, one thing they can try to fix is parking, but that's a whole nother conversation. And if that's a problem, that's a good thing.
mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So yes, let's just do what we need to do to get it. I know it's intricate in how we can get there, Jamal. Unfortunately, I'm not focused on it. I just need it done
Mhm.
as a woman. Like I
Yeah,
just need it done.
no, sir. I honestly, I think everyone is in order for Bermuda to succeed. we need the largest hotel open.
Yeah.
I think the disagreement is how we get that done. And Richard Augustus, I think, is onto something.
Hmm.
But I think the challenge, folks, is let's figure out what's been done, what's been done in other destinations. Rashida Godwin Sherry.
Agreed, Sherry, because look at Dubai, Vegas, and Bahamas, and Bermuda doesn't even try that template, and it's sad because too much politics in the ring. Yeah. And
It's
and and the thing is, I think what you just said, Jamal,
Mhm,
is that we need to get it done.
mhm,
If not, then what's going to happen is just we're going to have this place sitting on top of a hill that's going to deteriorate, and then what?
mm,
Then what? So it's
mm.
just like, are we going to have a line out the road trying to sell stuff?
Well, I mean, they had one at Elbow.
This is what I'm sliding that in, and
I don't know. After that, this past weekend, I'm worried for Elbow Beach, folks. I really am. Another. I remember growing up, and Nana had Young and the Restless on, and you know, they would be in Bermuda at Elbow Beach. They would say, and it's
yeah,
just so sad. Elbow is no longer. But we're going to be taking on the conversation after the news break. Where how does Bermuda compete globally? And I hope that this audience is a brilliant, intelligent audience, and I know we have the answers. I think it's really just about the powers that be listening to us and realizing that we have the intellectual capacity to offer solutions. But let's
hmm,
discuss that after the news break. How can Bermuda compete globally? Rashida
yeah,
Godwin mentioned Dubai, Vegas, Bahamas. Again, I can't understate it, and we all know this. Dubai, 20 something years ago, was desert, right?
yeah,
It's desert. It was desert. And no, we don't have oil, but we have a lot of intellectual capacity. If used right, we can probably compete in some areas, punch above our weight class. Michelle White says, yes, guarantees are needed, but it's what's behind the guarantee. Note that before a company is chosen for the build, there are negotiations, a give and take. What else is in the guarantee? And that's why you need top negotiators in the room. Let's bring Leanna into the conversation. And
Lee.
welcome her back. So, folks, I'm just gonna say it for her. Her and Sherry were plotting, guys against girls, and left Larry and I on our own. And I mean, we did our thing. We smoked cigars, had a little non-alcoholic beverage. But let's bring Leanna in since she wanted to fire with Sherry last week. Hey, Lee, welcome back. How you?
Morning, guys. Morning. It's so good to be back, Jamal. I hear you talking all your smack, but first of all, you and Larry, there's no competition for Sherry and I. Let's just start there. No competition, hands down.
Say it
I
again, Lee.
tuned in from my sick bed last week, and I have to say, you guys held it down, but that timekeeping, man, I see why Sherry and I are here.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Hold things in place as women do. Welcome back,
Mhm.
Lee. I didn't
Thank
get
you,
to lay
guys.
hands on her as far as giving her a hug, but
mm,
she said, I'll see you tomorrow, though.
Yeah, Cherry, I did not want to spread these germs to you guys. It's been
mm.
a week. I have never been down and out for that long. And I just think body was like, you know what? We're shutting down on you. It's over. Mayday, we have
Yeah.
a
Well,
problem.
can I say that you can have the news break and the weather and everything that comes with it because it's a task. It's
He had me
Well, you
riding on a
see,
bike in the rain, and he told me it was going to be sunny, Lee. I was
I,
like, Jamal.
because it was the weather news break for me every single time. It was the weather. It was the check your phone or go outside and see what happens type thing. And I was like,
I was
no,
like,
prepare
Jamal.
our people.
excuse me, folks. If it's one thing I've learned growing up from watching the news, is that the meteorologist has a 10% chance of being wrong and a 90% chance of being right. And you can
I
reverse that. And you can reverse that at any given time.
But I did. When he said the weather, I was like, Jamal.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Look, hurled head in shame and shakes.
apparently, I haven't been paying attention to Liana, folks. We're going to get over to the news break. Then we'll be back. We're going to discuss what Bermuda can do to compete globally. Make sure you're a part of that conversation because our future depends on what Bermuda's moves are in the global economy. Over to you, Lee. Welcome.
Let's go. Good morning and happy Monday to everyone that's tuned in with us today. I am so happy to be back and hope that you all are having a great start to your day. I'm Leanna Lambert and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, in today's top stories, a woman was rushed to hospital yesterday morning with a serious neck injury after she collided with a utility pole on South Road in Paget. Now, emergency services were called to the crash just after 10 a.m. on South Road in Paget near Garden Drive. The car received extensive damage to its front end after the vehicle struck a Balco utility pole. The woman, at last check, was receiving treatment at the hospital for her injuries. Motorists were advised to avoid the area while experts examined the scene. Meanwhile, earlier that morning, a man suffered a serious head injury after a crash involving two motorcycles and two cars yesterday. The injured man, who was on one of the motorbikes, was rushed to hospital for treatment. The crash happened at about 8:30 a.m. on North Shore Road in Hamilton Parish, close to Shelley Bay and near the junction with Lemon Grove Road. In other news, in keeping with our discussion this morning, Bermuda Tourism Authority CEO Charles Jeffers II said that the reopening of the island's biggest resort is critical to the recovery of the visitor industry. Now, in a statement, the BTA boss highlighted that the number of hotel beds in Bermuda had dropped to below 2,000 for the first time in recent tourism history, and that the 1,800 available rooms was just 43% of the 1990 figure. Now, Mr. Jeffers said that the Fairmont Southampton's 593 rooms and conference facilities open the island up to more group business, stimulates investment opportunities, and supports demand in other local hotel properties. Now, he stated without a timeline on the Fairmont's reopening, the organization is challenged to plan for group business sales and increased airlift, which underpins, he says, so many elements of our tourism growth strategy. Also speaking on the controversial issue, Wayne Keynes, the BTA chairman, claimed that the island was on track for a tourism renaissance with the reopening of the hotel, but he had added that the conversations between the government and hotel investors were a crucial component of increasing tourism. And as we know, March through April is the peak time for spotting humpback whales around the island. However, officials are urging the public to follow guidelines, noting that boaters should not get closer than 100 meters and that the public is also strongly advised to not swim with the whales. I don't know who's doing that. Guidelines have been provided by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to help minimize the disturbance caused by whale watchers and ensure that the safety of the boating public while they watch the whales. Now, they say boaters should also be aware of behavior that indicates a whale is agitated or no longer is interested in staying near a vessel. They say these include regular changes in traveling direction or speed of swimming, tail slapping or trumpet blows, repetitive diving, hasty dives, and other changes in breathing patterns. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 71 and low near 65 degrees. We will see patchy cloudy skies at times today. However, meteorologists predict a fine start to the week as the powerful high pressure regime will continue through much of the week while temperatures rise above the climatic average for early March. That's all for our Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Yeah, that weather, I mean,
That's our weather.
it was very different. I mean, Renee Simmons remembers the weather, stick your head out the window. See, I was leaving it up to people, and you came out, Lee, and you see, Leanna's a nice person, just helpful people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was
That was
trying.
a weather.
She was, you know.
See, Mal, I hope you were taking notes this time because, like, it's the weather. You can't just go outside, stick your head out a window and think that, you know the temperature, what the day is going to bring. Bermuda is like 4
Day.
seasons in one day. You don't know if you have to take your umbrella or not.
Well, I mean, Lee, what I do is I go outside in the elements. If it's raining, I check my phone to see what it's supposed to be. If it's cold, I check my phone to see what it's supposed to be. So I check after the fact. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, we want to be prepared, Mel. And as
Oh.
Sherry saw, we had some lovely weather on the island last weekend. I mean, I got a chance to get out and get some fresh air, take a couple walks so I could breathe. But
Yesterday was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. It was
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Well, let me tell you about today.
Yes, what's today, please?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're moving on from your weather, Jamal.
Mhm.
There isn't a person alive who doesn't love a bowl of cereal. Today is National Cereal Day. What's your favorite cereal? I like Frosted Flakes.
I don't eat cereal.
Gosh.
Lee doesn't.
Alright,
She didn't
now.
say her
I don't
favorite
actually
cereal.
eat cereal. I was going to say there's
Back
not a
in the
person
day-
alive. There's one person here that does not like
Not
cereal.
even back in the day. Like, I don't eat it like right now.
No, I
Really?
don't know.
Weirdos. Okay, but nevertheless, if you want to make that leap into eating some cereal, today is your day. And also is Alexander Graham Bell Day. He's celebrated for bringing us that telephone, that Jamal is looking at for his weather. They honor him today for that.
Oh, okay. Well, enjoy your Frosted Flakes, people. I mean,
Yeah.
no,
I mean, I know
and-
all the cereals, right? Fruit Loops, and then
Yes,
we have all
sure.
these healthy ones out there.
I like
brands.
Raisin Bran with
I was going to say the brands are out
with
there.
Honey Nut Cheerios, but that's kind of as far as
isn't
I
Raisin
get.
Bran like an elderly person's cereal?
It's not elderly; it's kind of seasoned, but I'm
Oh.
sure you ate it too.
Oh, okay. Lee, welcome back. It's great to have you. And you know what? Your
Thank
first day
you.
back, you and I, too, Sherry won. No cereal, Sherry cereal. What? See, this was a well-needed break. You see what I did there?
Yeah, but you know what? It's International Women's Day tomorrow, so Sherry, we're back on track. It's all right.
Okay, I was gonna say, don't get sucked into it.
I
Lee.
won't. I won't. I
Okay,
won't.
thank you.
He can have this one. He
You
can
can
have
close
it. He
out.
missed
No,
us.
Jamal, she's done.
He missed us.
See you tomorrow, Lee. See you tomorrow.
You guys are sorry.
Leanna Lambert, folks. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back. A question when we get back is, what does Bermuda need to do to compete globally? What does Bermuda need to do to compete globally? You don't want to miss this conversation. You want to be a part of it. It's your taxpayer dollars. It's your country. The future is yours.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Most of us identify pasta with the joys of Italian food, the most popular cuisine on the planet. After all, pasta is the staple food of Italy, where hundreds of varieties are enjoyed daily. While traveling in the Far East, the founder of the Explore Cuisine company was surprised and impressed by the variety of exotic pastas he found, sampled, and enjoyed there, and resolved to bring this knowledge back to enrich the cuisine of the West. This month, we're featuring delicious Explore Cuisine organic mung bean fettuccine and black bean spaghetti. Lindo, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Sherry Vanderpool, myself, Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, appreciate the first discussion this morning, and now we're going to focus on what does Bermuda need to do to compete globally. Now, some weeks ago, we asked, what does Bermuda need a compromise on, right? But what do we need to do to compete globally? Now, again, Rashida Godwin mentioned earlier about things that places like Dubai are doing, Vegas and Bahamas in terms of tourism. But we had Sir John Swan on recently speaking about, opening things up. This is not about, race. We had the economist and Bermuda College lecturer last week, Craig Simmons, talking about he's concerned not for the white collar worker, but for the blue collar worker. We have a color problem. It's not black and white and race, but it's white collar and blue collar. And so we need to figure out, think about this. Someone said to me recently, let's say Fairmont Southampton opens back up and it creates all these jobs, right? We should be concerned that some of those jobs are going to be not enough for people to make money to be able to survive in Bermuda.
Yeah.
We need to think about that. So for Bermuda to be able to compete, we need to find a way to balance the economy. Bermuda's too small to be like an India where the richest person's up here, the poorest people's down there. We need it a bit closer to here. We need a more balanced economy. But what does Bermuda need to do to compete globally? Like, we're only so big.
Yeah. My understanding in my short little read of a few articles is the basis of it all comes on, or the common theme throughout those was innovation and upgrading. And how can we be innovative and be able to upgrade areas of Bermuda that attract us to be on that same stage? Right now, we're just on the sideline looking in and saying, "Oh, that looks good. That looks good." But what are we willing to do to be innovative and being able to upgrade Bermuda to the standard that needs to be on that stage? And to me, that again goes along with your question. What can we do with that? And it's very difficult, or just very sad that with all the talent and things that we have on the island, people, that we can't come up with one significant idea that will put us on there. We tend to be in these think tanks forever. We're in these think tanks and we're like, oh yes, this, and then nothing transpires, and then all of a sudden it's a knee-jerk reaction to something, and then we're back again. It just feels like Bermuda has consistently been unsettled in the decision makings that they make in regards to how it can put us again on that competitive stage.
Sean Smith says, remove the 60-40 rule. This should allow local businesses access to foreign capital as well as foreign investment in Bermuda. Well, it's interesting because I remember when I was working in tourism and the One Bermuda Alliance became government in December 2012, and they were focused on the old baseline, what's it called, Morgan's Point, becoming a hotel. And I was like, instead of focusing on a hotel, why don't we create a tech hub or something up there?
Right.
Now, it may have been the PLP, I could be wrong, leading up to the 2017 election, saying they were going to turn Southside into a tech hub. But my thought was Bermuda can create its own Silicon Valley type, that all that land up there, just create another business hub, create streets with businesses and restaurants, and maybe a small little hotel or small, something up there. But for me, I thought it would be nice to create its own town up there to give people something new to look. I mean, it's beautiful up there, surrounded by the water.
Yeah.
That was my thinking, but I'm not a decision maker. I'm not in those rooms, and they wanted a hotel because they know more than me. And so they went for it with a hotel, and we see about 10 years later where we are with that hotel up Morgan's Point.
You see trees.
Pretty much. And so we see unfinished, what are they called? Fractional units. But what can Bermuda do to compete globally, folks? Like what is it? What if you were government, what would you want to do? What would you be pushing for Bermuda to do differently? What can we offer? What do we have? Like if we complain about no jobs. We complain about the expenses of Bermuda. This is our opportunity to discuss what we can do to help bring those costs down, what we can do to really change things, our economic future, our economic state right now.
Is there, let me ask you a question, Jamal. Is there any island or any area that's similar to Bermuda to even be able to look at to say this is something that Bermuda can do?
I mean, Cayman Islands pretty much does everything better. Who was it? One of our
Mm,
a recent politician in Bermuda used Cayman Islands as an example, said that
okay.
they they used to look up to us. We were the leader. Now it's like we're behind chasing them with no clue. It's a difference. But Cayman Island would definitely be the place,
Mm.
regardless of reputation. She could run for you, Sherry.
Okay. HGTV has had 3 seasons featuring the Bahamas in Renovation Island. Maybe Ariel Sands can be the new location for this popular TV series. Streaming on Discovery Plus, our architecture is unique.
It's interesting you say that because one of my wife's friends that she was out with this weekend helping do something in Florida. I remember when she had this series on HGTV, and I was thinking like, how can we do Bermuda? And I was thinking about all the derelict homes in Bermuda, like
Mhm.
more and more homes becoming derelict, and I'm like, I wonder if we could think outside the box, remove the box, and just think, and maybe hook up with someone like HGTV. But I love that thinking, Shika, because it's
Yeah,
different. It's different. Simple things like that get you the exposure for someone to consider Bermuda for business or for growth or anything or to visit.
to
But
live.
simple
Yeah.
things like that is what I'm talking about. That's why I love people like you. That's why I love this audience because things like that we're not talking about. We think
Hmm.
tourism, we think international business. What are some opportunities that we may not even be considering? What is Sherry said it like what's a similar destination doing? Cayman Islands. What is Bahamas doing? Renovation Island. Where's the low-hanging fruit? Where are opportunities that we can say, you know what? I'm calling my MP. I'm not calling my MP to complain.
Right.
It's okay to complain, folks. Let's be honest. It's a form of action. But I'm not calling my MP to complain about the state of Bermuda or what's happening to me. I'm calling my MP to say, look, the government needs help. I'll be happy to sit down and to discuss some solutions based on the research I've done.
Yeah. And same long lines as what Sheikah just said, music videos, like being able, Bermuda is a perfect backdrop for a lot of those type of things as well. And you see the locals, of course, doing music videos, but to put it on a bigger stage, promoting that, Atlanta's not that far. We are a entertainment state right now, or city, I should say. And that would be awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
it's
And we
interesting
shouldn't
you
have,
mentioned
and,
Atlanta.
and I don't
Um,
want to wait for people for the summer. You see what I'm saying? We need things that can go all year.
well, it's interesting you mentioned Atlanta because Atlanta is known for making movies now, right? Um,
Yes.
you see not just on Tyler Perry films, so but you see the Georgia peach symbol on a lot of movies now, right? Tyler Perry has a lot to do with that with his studios. But before growing up, it was only LA and New York. I think Vancouver's big in it, right? More and more places. I remember seeing an ad with Michael Douglas, who Bermuda champions, Ariel Sands, Michael Douglas, in an ad for New York to try to drive businesses to New York. You know what they were all fighting for? What they were all fighting for the same business and giving tax breaks. So Georgia changed the game, right?
Yeah.
Bermuda can be, if Morgan's Point's not a tech hub, create its own Hollywood, offer tax breaks. Who wouldn't want to make a movie in that beautiful place? Right? Simple
Absolutely.
things like that. So Bahamas, I think Tyler Perry made a movie down there. Why they got married too.
Hmm.
People
And
should be fighting to get to Bermuda for all kinds of opportunities.
he changed. He took his studios was an old army base.
Mhm.
What is Morgan's Point?
An old base. An old base. Sherry, we have it within us. We have
Yeah.
it within us, folks. And I know you're sitting here listening to Sherry and I, but you have it within you. You have it within you. What do you believe we can do to improve Bermuda's fortunes. Because I tell you, everyone's asking, what's a third pillar? What's a third pillar?
Mm-hmm.
We have IB, we have tourism.
Right.
What is that third pillar? Renee Simmons says, we don't have an all-inclusive hotel, not FSP, but maybe Morgan's Point or Ariel Sands. I have been to DR and Mexico. They are always sold out. We have Grotto Bay, which has an all-inclusive option. The truth about an all-inclusive hotel, it would collapse Bermuda's economy quicker than anything else. An all-inclusive hotel would collapse Bermuda's economy. Why? Because the purpose of hotels in Bermuda is so that people come and they explore the island. It's you use DR and Mexico. Those are not places that you're going to go out on your own and explore on your own. Bermuda's hotels drive our economy because people come off those properties to go to restaurants, to go to grocery stores, to go to excursions, to go to mom and pops. If you take that away and keep everyone on property, the economy would collapse in no time.
Gotcha.
That's the reason the all-inclusive option doesn't necessarily work. But instead of thinking like a DR in Mexico, think like a San Francisco and New York. Think like a Dubai. That's where we need to be thinking.
Okay. Because I was going to say our all-inclusive, well, it's not ours, but cruise ships. That's the all-inclusive.
You see how that works out for the economy. They don't spend money in the economy. They don't. Sean Smith says, do away with payroll tax and introduce small business / corporate income tax on businesses so Bermuda stops appearing on OECD gray blacklist, which can encourage businesses to domicile in Bermuda. Well, you don't want to appear on those lists. Those lists pretty much basically acts like you're fraudulent. You're not a good country to do business in. You're doing underhanded stuff. You definitely want to find ways to avoid being on those lists.
Okay.
Craig Luby says that the Bermuda government does not support Bermudians who are not friends and family, read the development of the Bermuda economy, and obstructs Bermudians from deploying infrastructure. This also includes the BTA, which has become influenced by party politics. Well,
Wow.
I mean, Mr. Luby, I'll say this much. You're going to have those challenges anywhere. That's the truth. However, Bermuda's small enough where we can avoid those with enough information, with enough support. What I would tell people, and this is just learning from my own experience in dealing with conscription, is generate enough support with the public or the people that can help sway the politicians before you take your situation to the politicians. Now, that may be hard with business plans because you can't trust everybody with a business plan. Right. But we definitely have to find ways to influence them that they benefit from this. This makes them look good. You know, when I work for people, I'm not interested in taking their job. I'm interested in making them look good. I do well, you do well, we all do well.
Absolutely.
So I think when it comes to Bermuda and the economy, folks, what does Bermuda need to do to compete globally? We need to think beyond the norm. We need to think beyond what we know. We have to think beyond what we are used to. We have to think beyond tourism and international business. We have to think beyond tourism and international business. We continuously ask, what's a third pillar? That answer is in us. Craig Simmons said last week, Sherry, that community colleges are the best way to get your economy going again. And he used the example that the students will graduate faster, be in the workforce, and be able to buy into the economy. They'll have money to purchase groceries, bottle of wine. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah.
But he's right. And a community college, they're going to have less debt to pay off and more money to spend. But again, we have to think beyond the norm.
Yeah, outside the box. It would be very cool to have a studio in Bermuda. That would be just, that's real big thinking, but that's, That
Well,
was
some
awesome.
people will say, well, the government did try to think outside, and they removed that damn box, and they had this studio, and then $800,000 later they got nothing, but can't find the person they gave the money to. I get that too. I get that too. Seriously. But then it comes to giving it to the right people. Are we like, how are we giving stuff away? This goes back to someone earlier. They said government guarantees to the right company.
Mhm.
Shikarina Sherry.
Bermuda is entering the sustainable finance game. What can non-insurers do to support the climate/science industry?
Mhm. Well, again, Craig Simmons, we touched on that, as well as the CEO David Hart of the Bermuda Business Development Agency. Climate, it's critical.
Mhm.
That climate risk. What can we do to support these industries?
Yeah.
Are we doing enough? Put it this way: are we educating young Bermudians in these spaces so that when they're old enough, they can do it? You know, Steve Perry, I've said this on this show numerous times. Dr. Steve Perry said when he was in Bermuda over 12 years ago, he said, we need to be preparing our students for things that don't yet exist. Are we doing that in Bermuda?
No.
Or are we simply focused and relying on international business and tourism? I think it was Muhammad Ali who said, there's a problem if we're still doing the same things today that we were doing yesterday or 10 years ago or 30 years ago.
Mm.
At the end of the day, in 2022, Bermuda shouldn't be asking itself, what can we do outside of tourism and IB for a third pillar? In 2022, we should be operating in that space where there's a third pillar.
Absolutely.
And we cannot keep turning to people in government who probably need you to give us the answers. Bermuda has a lot of intelligent people. It's time for those intelligent people to take their current state, their future in their own hands, and think bigger than what appears before them. Grow beyond your environment. I continuously say it. Grow beyond your environment. That's the only way that we will see things beyond tourism and international business. Sam Cat Play says we can be consistent with moving with the times and climate. What is that word? To comely? Whatever that word is.
Come alive.
I don't know what that means, Sam Cat Place. Stick with my level now. Stick with my level. You got to explain stuff like that. Look, what I say, I can't explain to the audience or talk to the audience about things I don't understand. On that note, folks, we're going to take a quick break, come back, wrap it up, give a daily play. And if you have any more thoughts, please share. But hey, this is up to us.
Yeah.
What does Bermuda need to do to compete globally? We need to come up with answers fast. We'll be right back.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right, Sam Cat Place saved me from a slow moment, but thanks again to One Communications, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. If you appreciated today's discussion and conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, like, and honestly, folks, because of the lack of engagement on this conversation, I beg you to carry this conversation around the dinner table, to that next family gathering, and at the water cooler.
Yeah.
Because we definitely need to be more involved in what we discussed today. Sam Cat Play said, sorry, typo. We need to stay consistent with our products and services and adapt to change, she said.
Because I'm like, I'm about to Google what that was.
Michelle White says, sorry, I stepped away. Is there a central place for ideas to be shared, nurtured, selected, or just sent, etc. beyond TDH, like a think tank, I guess? Hey, look, maybe we send this show to the decision makers. Maybe we send this show to them. Sherry, final thoughts on today's episode?
I was going to say, Michelle White, we are the think tank. Absolutely. How can we? I think just overall, again, I still speak transparency. I still feel the communication. I still feel that overall, Bermuda needs to be put in this innovative and upgrade what we're going to do across the board and put us in a position that we can play in the sandbox with others. If not, if we're going to be outside of it, we need to be creating a different sandbox that everybody else wants to play in.
Indeed. I'll say this much. As far as the guarantees, as I stated, I believe it should be case by case basis. I don't believe that one size fits all. And there needs to be, Bermuda needs the best negotiators possible in that room. We need the best negotiators possible. As I stated, my entire life, Bermuda's economy has been relying on international business and tourism. If ever there was a time for us to have a third pillar, it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. In 2022, there's absolutely no reason why we should be asking, what can we do as a third pillar? What can we look to as another way to sustain and grow our economy? That conversation should have been had a long time ago. And right now we should be doing the work. But here we are. But we need the smartest people in the room. And that doesn't mean politicians. Unfortunately, according to Greg Simmons and others, the government hasn't done anything or much of anything that was suggested in the Sage Commission. Maybe that's a good place to start. But Bermuda, we have to grow beyond our environment. Sherry, you got any daily inspiration for us?
I do. If you don't like the road you're walking, start paving another one. And that is from Dolly Parton.
All right, I like that one. But it's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry, you thought you were getting away, didn't you?
I did.
All right. It's time, folks. Help her out. So, when you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are.
Muhammad Ali. One more time, when you undervalue who?
Oh, you want it one more time. When you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are.
Can I get a hint, Jamal?
That's your hint.
You're so rude, if you wouldn't even say it was a female or a male or something. Hi, Nicole, girl.
Yeah, that's your hint. Let's end it with this comment. Michael Daniel says Bermuda needs to find a way to get its people who are or would be blue collar workers to engage with vision and passion. And I don't disagree, Michael Daniels. I think that's a great way to end it. That's a
Mhm.
great way to end it. And on that note, folks, thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, please do make it a safe and great day. Peace.
Bye.